What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a story time for y'all I think you're going to enjoy about how this dude's crazy neighbor ended up getting him expelled from school. This was sent in to me, but regardless, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam, your neighbor's gonna get you expelled. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it.
Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's $1 million.
Alright, so like I said, this was a subscriber story that was sent in to me, and the person that sent this in to me goes to a private school, so I guess they can do things that are a little bit different than what, normal schools can do. And one of the things that they had to do in order to move on to the next year at this school was do enough hours of like mandatory community service type of vibe. Basically, you had to help someone in your neighborhood and your community, it's supposed to teach you that helping people feels good, all that good stuff. And there was a guy in this subscriber's neighborhood that a lot of other people that have gone to this private school had helped out, organizing his house, because I guess he had trouble moving around and, like cleaning stuff. And so everybody was kind of like, yeah, that's what I did. It was pretty easy. It wasn't too bad. The house was really messy, but, all in all, it was easy to get my hours in. And so he's like, whatever, cleaning an old dude's house, if it helps him out and gets me the credit, I guess that's a pretty good way to get this done, right? So he goes to the old man's house and he knocks on the door. He answers and he insists on stepping outside of the house. So he can't really see in the house, but the guy doesn't look too dirty, he doesn't smell bad, and he seems really, really nice. He's like, oh, yes, that school, man, that assignment is so helpful, always helping me get things organized. Of course you can help if you want to, And all in all, he doesn't think it's going to be that bad. It's about what you would expect, like whatever, I'll just go over, help an old man organize, and get my credit done. So the first day he's supposed to go over there and volunteer for 4 hours, he goes over, and remember, he hasn't been inside yet, so he doesn't really know what to expect. And he goes over and he knocks, and he hears the old man on the other side go, 1 minute, I've got to get the door open. And then he hears him kind of like shifting stuff around, and it sounds like he's kind of moving heavy boxes, heavy things. Not what you would expect somebody to do if they just like have to open the door. I don't have a bunch of stuff in front of my front door that I have to move every time I want to open it. And finally, the door opens, and behind him is just a sea of trash, like trash bags, boxes. I guess some of the stuff was usable, but basically this guy is a grade A hoarder. And it's not a situation where it's like an organized hoard, like an extreme couponer type hoard. No, like a lot of this is just garbage. Like it was almost like when his kitchen trash was full, instead of taking it out, he just walked it into his dining room and dropped it on the floor. And eventually it just piled up so large that it was like a tower, and he just didn't feel like taking it out ever again. That was literally kind of the vibe that it looked like. And the sight of the trash is obviously what's there first, but as the door is open longer, the smell hits him, and it literally makes him have to go gag in the bushes, right? So like he runs out into this dude's front yard and is literally dry heaving into the bushes because the smell of the trash that is just sitting in this dude's house is enough to make somebody like almost vomit. Not a very good one, right? And the guy is like kind of annoyed with him for being grossed out by it, which I don't know what you expect. If you've been living in that, you've got to know it's pretty gross. There's no way you're not aware. And so he's kind of like, it's not that bad, kid. Come on. You never smelled anything unpleasant before? Like, get over it. And he's like, dude, I can't work unless you give me a mask or something. And so the old man goes into the garage, which is not as dirty. It's still kind of dirty, and pulls out like a mask, and he gives it to him. And the kid puts the mask on, and he's like, all right, I guess I got to do this to get my hours. And so he goes in there and he's just taking trash out. He had a dumpster in his backyard, like one of those rent-a-dumpster things. And so he's like, just fill that up. I don't want people to see it in the front. And so he's trying to just take these trash bags through the house. And so he's going into different rooms of the house as he's doing it. And each room is just filled with trash. And even with this mask on, dude, he can still smell it. Like, the smell has to be bad if you have a mask on and it's still not helping, and he's just like getting to the point where he's gagging every time he walks over the threshold. And so finally, after 20 minutes of taking trash back and forth, he's like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. I'm sorry. I'll have to figure out another way to get my credit, but like, I can't keep doing this. And the old man is like, oh, you're gonna quit? You're gonna quit? Well, guess what? You can't quit because your grade depends on it. You already said that you were gonna help me, so if you quit now, it's gonna make you look bad. And he starts like trying to blackmail this dude into the fact that he can't leave the house until it's done. The cool dude that was like, oh, it's so awesome, you're gonna help me. He's gone. And in his place is just this super angry dude that like basically is trying to throw hands the entire time, blackmailing him to keep cleaning. But he kind of gets intimidated by the old man, and he's like, crap, what if they don't let me do another person? Like, what if my grade really does depend on it and I'm screwed because of this? So finally, he just decides to eat it and keep cleaning. Like, he's like, whatever, I guess I'll keep going. But he has some demands. He's like, I don't want to touch it anymore. I want a shovel. So he's got a shovel, and he's picking up bags of trash, right? And so he's scooping and scooping, and that's when it happens, the thing that just takes it to the next level. He sticks the shovel underneath the bag of trash, and he lifts it up. And when he looks down at what's underneath it, he's really confused because it's carpet, but it's not the same color as the rest of the carpet. It's like really brown, and there's something on it, and he kind of looks a little more focused, and it is a cat skeleton, dude. Not a decaying cat body, a cat skeleton. That thing had laid there long enough to be completely bone now. The carpet underneath is brutal, and at that point, he's like, I can't keep doing this, bro. This is putrid. And so he like drops the shovel. He's like, I'm not removing a cat body from this dude's house. And so he goes outside and he's like, I'm done. And he looks to see what the old man is doing. And the old man is in the backyard with his feet up, shoes off, like just kind of sitting there with a drink in his hand, sipping iced tea. That's right, dude. He had this kid in his house, like removing bags of trash, potentially having to find bodies of cats. And he's in the backyard just sipping iced tea, and he's like, I'm done. I'm not doing this, bro. I quit. And the old man gets up all pissed off, and he's like, well, guess what? I'm not going to tell the school that you did your job until you finish it. So if you want that credit, then you go ahead and get back in there and keep cleaning. And it doesn't matter to this kid at this point anymore. He's like, whatever. I would literally rather not graduate than like have to go back in there, breathe that in, cause whatever health problems that's going to cause. Because you know breathing in dead cat can't be good for your respiratory system, right? And on top of that, I don't care about my grade enough to like have to clean up animal bodies. What's wrong with you? And so the kid tells him that. He's like, fine, go ahead. Tell the school I did a crappy job, telling them you hate me, whatever you got to do. I'm not doing that anymore. And he just leaves. He starts to walk back home, and it's in his neighborhood, so it doesn't take him long to get home. And he gets back, and his parents are like, oh, that was quick. And he's like, I'm going to shower, but before I do, I have to tell you what happened. And he tells them everything about the hoarding, the trash bags, the cat, everything. And they're like, yeah, you should have left. You did the right thing. So, you know, if your parents are on your side, you think you did the right thing, you did do the right thing, there's no reason to think that this is going to backfire or whatever. You might have to figure out another way to get your community service hours. But if some old man's going to scream at you to pick up dead cats with a shovel, and he's going to like blackmail you with your grade if you try to say you don't want to do it, then he can clean his own hoarding up, bro. It sounds like he's been taking advantage of this program to have people volunteer for community service to get his dead cats removed once a year. That's not a very dope situation. Also not dope of the people that were like, yeah, the house is really messy. Really messy and like dead cat skeleton are two different levels of mess. You know what I mean? I can't believe that people had done this before. I'm not cleaning out somebody's hoard. I don't care about the grade. You can fail me if that's what it takes. Like, you know, helping someone clean a house is one thing, but you sipping in like iced tea on the back patio while I'm breaking my back removing your hordes of trash, yeah, that doesn't fly with me, dude. I don't care if it gets me an A or not. You know, if you're a mad overachiever, best of luck to you. You're going to have an unfortunate time. So whatever, the next day it was a Monday, and he decides to just go into the office and explain what happened and try to get this fixed so he can like get assigned somebody else maybe, you know, or figure something out. And when he goes in there and he says the name, the office aide goes, ooh, well, and the principal comes out, he goes, I'm actually glad you're here because we need to have a talk. Someone came in and reported your conduct from this weekend and it's highly unacceptable. And obviously the kid's confused because like he didn't do anything wrong. So whatever, they go into the office and they start talking, and the principal is like, your conduct at the old man's house was completely unacceptable. Students of our school can't treat people like that. It's just unacceptable. And obviously he's like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything. Like, I didn't do anything unacceptable. Yes, I quit. I'm not going to deny that, but I quit because it was like a safety thing. Like, my health could be at risk. I didn't quit and like threaten the old man. I didn't do anything. And the principal's like, well, apparently you destroyed the old man's house, broke some objects complex and then threatened him with a shovel while you were quitting? And the kid's like, no, that didn't happen. Like, that did not happen. I did quit. I will admit that I quit, but I never threatened him with a shovel. I didn't break anything. The house is disgusting. He's a hoarder. And the principal is like, you don't need to describe him like that. He's a member of our community. That's the conduct that we're talking about, and you just expect me to believe that you go over there and clean this guy's house and nothing's broken. Now a bunch of stuff is broken and he has a shovel and he said you threatened him with it. And he's like, yeah, well, he's saying that, but that's not what happened. I never did that. And the principal looks at him and says, you expect me to believe that an 84-year-old man is making this up? And the kid realizes at that moment that, like, it sounds nuts. Him denying this sounds nuts. And he's like, yeah, because he's lying. And he's like, yeah, okay, sure. This old, frail man is lying about this for no reason. All right, guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. If you take a look on your screen now, you'll see an Xbox gift card. For those of you that don't know, I give one away. If you turn on notifications and subscribe, you'll have a better chance at winning the one that I give away every day. And while I've got your attention, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, your mom's a hoe. If you're already subbed with notifications on, you're a god. And let's get back to it. So he's trying to defend himself, and he's like, I'm telling you, he's a hoarder. It was a health hazard to clean it, like it wasn't a matter of me not wanting to do community service. And on top of that, like, I didn't threaten him. I did not do it because he didn't even need to threaten him. He just quit. And he's like, yeah, we understand that the house is in a rough condition, but you don't need to call him a hoarder. That's offensive. But like, he's just a hoarder. There was a dead cat in his living room. And so he's like, yeah, but we know the house is bad regardless. That's why we send students over there. You can't threaten him either way. Like, we've never had an issue before. Plenty of students have gone over there and helped clean and they've never threatened him. So why were you the issue? And now he's getting annoyed because he didn't threaten him. Like, imagine somebody's like, you took a shovel and tried to hit your mom yesterday. And you're like, I just didn't do that. Like, I just never have threatened someone with a shovel ever. So he's trying to explain that he just never did that. And the principal is not buying it. And he's like, well, you say that you didn't do it. And he's saying that you did. Who am I going to believe? The kid that would get in trouble for it, or the old man that has no reason to lie? And the kid's like, yes, because the old man is lying. And the principal is like, do you understand that it's very serious to call someone a liar? Calling someone's character into question like that is a very big deal. And he's like, I know it's a big deal, okay? But he's lying. I never threatened him with a shovel. That's just not true. And the principal is not believing him. Like, he keeps trying to get him to admit it. If you just admit it, you'll probably get in less trouble. And he's like, that's great. I didn't do it. You're not going to get me to admit that I threatened him with a shovel because I just didn't do it. And finally, the principal's had enough. And he's like, well, I'm going to contact your parents and talk about this, but it's not good conduct for our students. And just so you are aware, your future at this institution is at risk because of your behavior. Like, we don't know if we're going to be able to keep you on as a student. And obviously, the kid is just so pissed off. He's like, fine. So he goes, for the rest of the day is a normal school day for him. And he's coming home and he's like, man, my parents aren't going to believe this. Hopefully they'll be able to fix this for me, thinking that his parents are going to like argue with the principal. But he walks through the door and his mom's home already, and she jumps off the couch and she's like, why were you threatening an old man? You didn't tell us that you were threatening the old man while you were cleaning his house. And obviously it meant that his parents had gotten a call from the school and already talked to his principal, and he had told them that, like, yeah, your son's just really out of control, running around with flathead shovels, just smacking everybody. Wowee, man, I would not recommend this kid being at our school anymore. So he tries to tell his parents, like, I didn't threaten him. I never did that. I did quit. I came home and told you guys about it right away. I did quit because he's a hoarder. I'm not going to pick up dead cat. And, he's trying to explain himself best as can, but of course, nobody is believing him because, like, everyone just thinks this old man would never do that. Oh, why would this old man be making this up? Why do you think that, like, he would do that? Something must have happened if he went and told the school. You think that this old man would make it up? And he's like, yes. But even after his explanation, his parents just aren't believing him, which would really suck, dude. Like, whatever. Your principal doesn't believe you. He's just some random adult. Kids try to lie to him every day. It is what it is. But if your parents start to think that you're responsible for threatening an old man with a shovel, like, damn, mom and dad, who do you think I am? Like, you think I'm running around here living life like Grand Theft Auto? So whatever, his parents then give him some extra horrible news, and they say that the school basically recommended that they find alternate options because they didn't want him at school anymore. That's right, dude. He was getting expelled from this private school that he was at because of the fact that this old man just made up this story about him threatening him with a shovel. And of course, they're like, yeah, well, we can't have our students acting like that. It's just very unprofessional and makes us look bad. So this old man had managed to get him kicked out of school because he didn't want to, like, clean up his hoard, right? So at this point, the kid's pissed. His parents don't believe him. Everyone thinks that, like, you know, he just didn't want to clean up and he was lazy. So he decides he's going to go confront the old man. So he walks to his house and he knocks on the door and he answers and he's like, what do you want? And he confronts him. Why did you lie to my school? Why did you tell my school that I threatened you with a shovel and, like, didn't want to do the job? You know that's not what happened. I did quit, but, like, I never threatened you. And the old man kind of smiles and, you know, is like, well, you should have just done the work. If you would have just cleaned up the house like I asked you to, none of this would have ever happened. I wouldn't have had to call the school and explain what, you know, I know you wanted to do in that situation. And he's like, what I wanted to do, first of all, I didn't want to threaten you with a shovel. And on top of that, I didn't threaten you with a shovel, so why would you tell them that? If you don't like the fact that I didn't clean it up, it is what it is. What am I going to do about it? But there was just no reason to call the school and, like, complain. And the old man basically says that he should deal with it. And at this point, he's got nothing to lose, right? Like, if he starts to argue with them, what's going to happen? So he just goes off. He's like, you're a disgusting hoarder. Like, your house is putrid. You have dead cats in your living room. It's so disgusting. The fact that you're 84 years old and somehow have survived in this for so long is, like, shocking to me. Because if anyone else was living in this, they'd probably be dead by now. It's so disgusting. And the old man starts to argue back. Well, you're young. You don't know anything about owning a house or keeping it clean. So whatever. You own a house for as long as I have and keep it clean, and then we can have a discussion. You don't know anything about keeping a house clean, you idiot. Which, you know, I feel like is not a very good comeback when you are a hoarder that has dead animals in your living room. I feel like it doesn't take an expert to not let it get that bad. Whatever, you don't necessarily know how to deep clean a toilet. I can see how that happens, but like, nobody should have bags of trash piled up to the ceiling in any room. And so the kid snaps back. He's like, I don't need to know a lot about it to know that if you have a dead cat decaying in your living room into a skeleton, that's a problem, right? Your living room is literally full of dead animals and garbage. Do you not see a problem with that? Like, you really think that's normal? And at that point, the old man probably realized that there was not much he could say to win this argument, because he just instantly goes to the, get off my property. I don't need to be disrespected like this on my porch. You get out of here. And he's like, fine, I will get out of here. Good luck with all your garbage, man. And they kind of exchange just a few more lovely pleasantries, you know, some you suck, no, you suck, some other powerful, strong language, fantastic, colorful, expressive emotions. But at the end of the day, he goes back to his parents and is like, is there anything we can do to get the school situation fixed? And no. They called, they appealed for a while, but they just didn't believe him. Like, at the end of the day, they were just like, we think your son is making up the fact that he didn't do anything to cover the fact that he did it, and we believe the old man. So I don't know if this dude was like a fat donator to the school or something, or like if he had blackmail on the principal or whatever, but somehow he literally had this entire school convinced that this kid was a shovel-wielding maniac, which out of everything that you can wield and like run around threatening people with is probably your like worst option. You know, that's the equivalent of you're trying to rob someone in an alleyway and you pull out a spoon. Obviously, it could do damage, but he didn't threaten him. He did not threaten him. But if you are going to threaten someone with yard work equipment, I feel like shovel is just not the best option. Whatever, dude. Either way, he's not a shovel-wielding maniac, and he ended up getting switched into a public school, and he liked it better. So, you know, obviously it sucks that the old man had to take it this far, but if you like your new situation better, I guess it's not all bad. I also just want to make it clear, it should be okay with any school that you don't want to clean up a hoarder's entire mess for school credit. Like, that should be an okay thing to say. When I have kids, if they ever have to do something like this for school and the guy has dead cats in his living room and they get expelled for it, I would be kind of proud of them. Like, hey, at least you didn't go on to clean it, because that's worse than just getting in trouble for it. Especially if it's that bad, dude. Like I said, you just gotta help an old man vacuum or clean a stove, that's nothing. But if there's like dead animals and garbage, you gotta have professionals in there. It's not the time to be bringing in volunteers from the school to get some like community service credit. It should be a dude in a hazmat suit with a bucket of bleach so large that it'll be a swimming pool in there afterwards. And you know that carpet has to not be very fantastic either. I also don't get how it's community service for him to be picking up dead cats with shovels, bro. Like, how does that help anyone other than the old man and traumatize the kid? That's not doing anything for your community. Maybe have him go out in the woods and plant trees or something instead. I feel like that's a lot better than forcing them to basically be the cleanup crew from like the Hoarders TV show. And I think the biggest moral of this story, you know, as we always do on this channel, stories have to have a moral, is don't be a hoarder. I obviously know some people it's like a condition and they need a therapist or whatever, and if that's the case, then I hope you get help. But if you are going to be a hoarder, don't make random people that have nothing to do with your mess pick up your dead animals, because that's just kind of really not cool. Especially if they're vibing in your living room, dude. Like, I could just not imagine my pet dying and me not knowing one, and then also not noticing the smell of death coming from where I watch television. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought, or of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on those notifications. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to help me out more, I'll put a link to the intro song down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, or of course, you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. Great way to get a discount on G Fuel and help me out. And last but certainly not least, I did go ahead and put some of my story times up on Spotify, so check that out. Link will be at the top of the description. I'd appreciate it. And yeah, on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.